What you're about to hear will leave you speechless. A boy who grew up in Port Harcourt, Nigeria, where gunshots were the morning alarm and poverty was the daily menu, stood on the Grammy stage holding the trophy the whole world said he would never touch. But this isn't just a success story. This is a story of rejection, pain, identity crisis, and a mother's prayer that changed everything. Sit back, because Burna Boy's journey will make you cry, make you angry, and make you believe again. Damini Ibunoluwa Ogulu was born on July 2, 1991, in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, Nigeria. His mother, Bose Ogulu, was a translator. His father, Samuel Ogulu, worked in welding. They weren't rich, but they had something money couldn't buy: love and belief. Young Damini, who the world would later know as Burna Boy, grew up in a neighborhood where opportunities were scarce, but dreams were free. His grandfather, Benson Ideniji, had once managed the legendary Fela Kuti, the father of Afrobeat. Music was in Burna's blood, but the path to greatness was covered in thorns. As a child, Burna watched his friends drop out of school. He saw young men join gangs because there were no jobs. He saw girls forced into marriages they didn't want. Port Harcourt in the 1990s and early 2000s wasn't just poor. It was a place where hope went to die. But Burna was different. While other kids played football, he sat in his room with a broken keyboard his mother bought from a second-hand market. While others copied American rappers word for word, Burna asked himself a question that would change everything. Why am I trying to sound like someone else? Why can't I sound like me? That question would change African music forever. But here's where the story gets interesting. Because before Burna Boy became a global superstar, he had to face something that almost broke him completely. In 2010, Burna Boy finished secondary school. His parents wanted him to study abroad, to become a doctor or engineer. Like every Nigerian parent dreams, they scraped together every naira they had and sent him to the University of Sussex in England to study media technology. But Burna's heart wasn't in textbooks. It was in music. England was cold, in every sense of the word. The weather chilled his bones. But the racism froze his spirit. He was called names. He was followed in stores. He was questioned by police for simply walking down the street. One evening, after a particularly brutal encounter with racist students who mocked his accent and told him to go back to Africa, Burna sat in his tiny dormitory room and cried. He called his mother. His voice was breaking as he said, "Mama, I don't belong here. They look at me like I'm nothing." His mother's response was simple but powerful. She said, "Then show them who you are." Those 5 words became his fuel. Burna dropped out of university. After 2 years, his parents were devastated. His father stopped talking to him for months. His relatives whispered behind his back, "That boy has wasted his life." Friends he grew up with laughed at him. They said, "You left England? Are you mad? Do you know how many people would kill for that opportunity?" But Burna had made his decision. He returned to Nigeria in 2012 with nothing but a laptop, a dream, and a sound no one had heard before. Back in Lagos, Burna Boy started knocking on doors. Record label after record label turned him down. One executive told him, "Your sound is too different. Nobody will understand this." Another said, "Can you sound more like Wizkid or Davido? That's what sells." A radio DJ laughed in his face and said, "This your music, nia noise. Nobody go listen." Burna was heartbroken. He had sacrificed everything: university, his parents' respect, his future, and for what? To be told he wasn't good enough? Frustrated and broke, Burna moved back to his parents' house. His mother, Bose Ogulu, became his manager. Even though she had zero experience in the music industry, she didn't know about contracts, distribution, or marketing. But she knew one thing: her son was special. Every single morning, Burna woke up at 5 a.m. and went to the studio. He recorded songs, mixed them on his laptop, and sent them to radio stations. Most were ignored. Some were laughed at, Others were deleted without being listened to. There were nights when Burna sat alone, staring at his phone, wondering if he had made the biggest mistake of his life. But his mother never stopped believing. She would look him in the eye and say, "Damini, your time is coming. Just hold on." And then something happened. Before we continue with what happened next, I want to say something. If this story is touching you, if you're feeling inspired, hit that subscribe button right now, because we're bringing you more incredible African success stories like this every single week. Stories that will shock you, move you, and remind you that greatness comes from struggle. Now let's get back to Burna Boy's breakthrough moment. In late 2012, Burna Boy released a song called "Like to Party." He didn't have a major label backing him. He didn't have a music video budget. He didn't have connections or industry friends. He just had a song and his mother's phone, which she used to send it to every DJ, blogger, and influencer she could find. At first, nothing happened. But then, one small radio station in Lagos played it. Then another. Then a club DJ added it to his set. The song started spreading like wildfire. Like to Party wasn't like anything Nigerians had heard before. It was smooth. It was different. It was authentic. Within weeks, Burna Boy went from unknown to unavoidable. People were asking, who is this guy? Where did he come from? Aristocrat Records signed him. And in 2013, he released his debut album titled Life, which stood for Leaving Impact for Eternity. The album featured hits like Yawa De, Run My Race, and Tonight. Suddenly, the boy everyone rejected was the man everyone wanted to work with. Burna Boy was no longer a dreamer. He was a star. But fame brought new problems. Success didn't make Burna humble. It made him confident. Some people said too confident. He started calling himself the African giant, and many Nigerians felt he was arrogant. They said things like, "Who does he think he is? He's not even the biggest artist in Nigeria." But Burna didn't care. He knew his worth. In 2017, his album titled Outside was released, featuring the global hit Ye. The song became an anthem. It played in Lagos, London, New York, and Atlanta. Diddy danced to it. Skepta endorsed it. The world was finally paying attention to Afrobeat. But then the doubters came back. When the 2019 Grammy nominations were announced, Burna Boy's album African Giant was nominated for Best World Music Album. He should have been celebrating. But instead, he was furious. The category was called World Music, a label many African artists felt was disrespectful. It was like saying, your music doesn't belong with the real music, it belongs in the other category. Burna Boy spoke out. He said, "Why do they put all African music in one category? We are not one sound. We are not one story. We deserve respect." Many people criticized him for complaining. They said, "You should be grateful you were even nominated." But Burna didn't care. He had spent his whole life being told to fit in, to conform, to be quiet. Those days were over. And then came the moment that changed everything. On March 14, 2021, the 63rd Grammy Awards took place. Burna Boy's album Twice as Tall was nominated for Best Global Music Album. The category had been renamed after his complaint. Burna sat in the audience, calm but focused. When the presenter opened the envelope and said, "And the Grammy goes to Burna Boy, Twice as Tall," the room erupted. Burna stood up slowly. He kissed his mother, his manager, his protector, his believer, and he walked to the stage. Holding the Grammy trophy in his hands, Burna Boy didn't smile. He didn't dance. He looked directly into the camera and said, "This is a big win for my generation of Africans all over the world. This is for all the kids back home who feel like they don't belong. You do. Keep going." His mother, Bose Ogulu, cried in the audience. She remembered the boy who came home from England broken. She remembered the rejections, the mockery, the doubt. Now her son was a Grammy winner. Winning the Grammy didn't make Burna Boy relax. It made him work harder. He has since performed at Coachella, Madison Square Garden, and the O2 Arena in London. all sold out. He's collaborated with Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, and Stormzy. His album Love Damini debuted at #1 in multiple countries. But more importantly, Burna Boy changed the game for African artists. After his Grammy win, more African musicians were signed to international labels. Afrobeat exploded globally. Artists like Tems, Rema, and Asake followed in his footsteps. Burna didn't just win for himself, he won for Africa. Burna Boy's story teaches us powerful lessons. First, don't copy others. Be yourself. The industry wanted him to sound like everyone else. He refused. Second, your roots are your power. He never abandoned his Nigerian identity, even when it wasn't popular. Third, rejection is redirection. Every no pushed him closer to his yes. Fourth, family matters. His mother believed in him when no one else did. Fifth, success is the best revenge. The best response to doubters is achievement. From a boy holding a broken radio in Port Harcourt to a man holding a Grammy on the world's biggest stage, Burna Boy proved that African dreams are not small. They are giant. So what did you learn from Burna Boy's story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If this story inspired you, hit that like button and subscribe for more incredible African success stories. Next week, we're bringing you the story of Mo Salah, the Egyptian boy who was rejected by his local team and told he would never make it in football. Now he's one of the greatest players in the world. You don't want to miss it. Thank you for watching, and remember, your story isn't over yet.